Hello, good day. Welcome back to my channel, the Uncensored Asian Vlog. And today, we all know that we're back to GCQ or General Community Quarantine from the revived MECQ that ran over the past 2 weeks. And that means that a lot of people will be allowed to work. And there are millions of people, probably millions out there, who are still going to be working from home, like me, in order to contribute to our failing economy. And when it comes to numbers, one of them is, of course, joblessness or unemployment in this country. And as you can see, we have this news coming from Philippine Star, which shows that the Philippines is seen booking the highest unemployment rate in Southeast Asia, which is our region, which is not surprising because we've been failing over the past 3 to 4 years since Duterte became president. So that's not really surprising. Now, what is surprising is, well, I think for some people it's not really surprising, is the surge of coronavirus cases in this country. And here's the statistics showing coronavirus cases per country all over the world. And not really surprisingly, United States has the highest number of total coronavirus cases with 5.7 million positive cases. That's not surprising because the United States conducted the most number of tests so far at 73 million. That's more than half the 109 million population of the Philippines. So imagine if we conducted that number of tests, we might see millions of cases in this country. But well, the number of positive cases follows the number of tests, and that's pure logic. So if you're gonna conduct more testing, as U.S. President Donald Trump said, you're gonna see more number of cases, and that means that's the only way you can see whether your coronavirus curbing measures are working or not. So in our case, we can see here that the Philippines has 178,000 positive cases, and we only conducted like 2.1 million tests so far, and that means that 8.1% of those tested came out positive. Compare that with the United States case, which is like 7.7% turn out to be positive out of 73.3 million people tested. So imagine if we're going to conduct 70 plus million tests. That means that we're going to see millions, probably 3 to 5 million cases in this country. And that's the reason why the government decided to revert our status back to MECQ over the past 2 weeks, and now we're back to GCQ. We hope that this is going to bear fruit because we have sacrificed a lot. We've sacrificed our economy in order to curb the spread of the virus. And when it comes to economy, we're going to talk about numbers and analysis as well, because if let me just show you that I predicted way back April. Let me just show you my prediction here. On April 8th, I made at least 8 post-Chinese coronavirus predictions. So what I mean by that, what I mean is all of these 8 predictions will happen after this crisis is over. But if you notice, even if this crisis is not over yet, it's going to be over probably by next year, or it's going to be part of our reality, global reality. We're going to live with this virus, okay? There's nothing that we can do. It's already part of our reality. What we can do is to use scientific advances that we have today, to use research, science in order to curb the spread of the virus. And here's what I said. So number one is USA, Australia, the UK, Japan, and many developed countries will pull their companies out of China, particularly manufacturing companies. So China has cornered or has this monopoly when it comes to a lot of global products that we have today. So one of them is pharmaceuticals. In terms of pharmaceuticals, China, according to reports, has cornered the antibiotics market, of the world. And that's the reason why US President Trump is doing everything that he can in order to get these manufacturers back to the US and encourage the manufacturers to start all over again within the United States to manufacture drugs, antibiotics in the United States. And just recently, President Trump passed an executive order to just do that. In order to make everything fair, he used his power as president in order to lower the prices of drugs and for pharmaceutical companies to manufacture drugs again back in the US. So another thing is the rare earth metal issue. Technology industries all over the world are aware that China has cornered rare earth metal, and that's going to be one thing that developed nations are going to address. Okay, India is known to have large deposit of rare earth metal, and these metals are what technology industries use. Cell phones, any technologies that we use today use rare earth metal that China has cornered so far, and that means power. If they can corner, this rare earth metal production in the world, they can corner the world, and that means political power, global political power. And that's the reason why China is so aggressive in stealing our territories, the Calayan Islands, the West Philippine Sea, because who knows? And probably China knows that it has large deposits of rare earth metals. All right, rare earth metal. Number two, India will be the main beneficiary of mass exodus. And according to reports, not just India, but Vietnam as well. And there is high possibility that the Philippines, and we know it today, the Philippines will be ignored because of its relations with China. And as you can see here, leaving China from this report, India and Vietnam as the new economic hubs. Right, China is losing the trade war. If you're gonna search, okay, manufacturing companies leave China for India, and reports over the past months, for example, starting April, show that Japan is trying to pay for its manufacturing companies in order to leave China. Doesn't matter if they're gonna go back to Japan, as long as they leave China, that's good for Japan. And a lot of countries as well are following suit. So United States, we have President Trump encouraging the U.S. manufacturing companies to abandon China. Australia, the UK, many European countries as well. So in July, so according to CNBC, in July, more than 50 companies reportedly pulled production out of China. US businesses are leaving China for India due to coronavirus. So that was May actually. So let's get to the latest of these reports. So like I said, leaving China, India and Vietnam as a new economic territories for this mass exodus of companies out of China. So in the aftermath of the coronavirus pandemic, there has been numerous discussions with regard to the likely beneficiaries. I said that last April actually, and this is a report in June 20th. So I already said it. I predicted it last April 8th that China is going to really lose this war, because a lot of developed countries are gonna get so mad that they're gonna encourage their own companies. Okay, these companies in China, the manufacturing companies in China, most of them, especially the global companies, are all headquartered in developed countries. They are incorporated in developed countries like Japan, United States, and many European countries. They just have their manufacturing bases in China, and they can move, their manufacturing bases out of China anytime. The thing is, what they're afraid of is logistics. Okay, China has almost everything. The rare earth metal, that's China's biggest weapon. The rare earth metal, especially that these manufacturing companies use rare earth metals. So China can weaponize rare earth metal in order to threaten these leaving companies out of China to, stay in China. But we don't see that yet coming. But I'm sure that China is going to use that leverage in order to keep these companies. But the thing is, we all know that China has largely benefited from the technology transfer policy that it imposed over the past decades. That's the reason why we now see billionaires in China. A lot of, members of parliament in China are billionaires. Jack Ma, for example, of Alibaba, is a member of the Communist Party. So they were able to copy and steal all these ideas, all of these inventions from the first world, and let their cronies, be rich. Let their cronies steal the patents, for example, the ideas, inventions, and they allow their own billionaires, their own people, to grow filter rich. Okay, because China has the money. You know, what they have in China is cronyism. It's socialist cronyism. So anyone can be a billionaire. All you need to do is have connections to the CCP, or the Communist Party of China. Get some loan from state-owned banks, and you can be really filter rich and start your own production company by stealing the ideas of Western manufacturing companies. So, all right, so they're leaving China for Vietnam and India, and India has started to improve its logistics network, which is very important. So that's the reason why it's very unlikely for these companies to leave China for the Philippines. That's very unlikely. It's not going to happen, considering the fact that we have a very shaky and uncertain economic environment and political environment as well. So the Philippines is definitely not going to be a destination or a new destination for this leaving companies. So let's go back to the next prediction. Many small businesses in the Philippines will either close or carry out mass layoff, and this was long before the shutdown of ABS-CBN. A lot of companies have done mass layoff. So God forbid, I'm an atheist, but if this situation is going to continue, if we're gonna continue to cripple our economy over the next few months until next year, we're gonna see a really high unemployment that this country has never seen, okay, in the past. So it's gonna be there's gonna be probably hyperinflation, and we're already cash strapped. Okay, we no longer have money, according to the president. So they don't have, or the government has no recourse at all but to borrow money from foreign creditors, and China is going to be our creditor. So China so far has taken advantage of this crisis in order to leverage itself, despite the fact that it's losing manufacturing companies to India, to Japan, for example. So we can now see that they're going back to their own countries. But China is trying to take advantage of this crisis. It's trying to come up with a vaccine that the world is going to use, but we don't know of the safety and the quality of that vaccine. And we now know as well, according to news, that Russia is about to release or issue its own vaccine, and we don't know whether that vaccine is going to be safe, it's going to be of quality, and if they were able to do really rigorous research and clinical testing in order to make sure that it's going to be safe for people to use. So I'm not an anti-vaxxer, just to let you know, but it's not supposed to be mandatory. Okay, that vaccine is not supposed to be mandatory. It's up to people if they would like to take that vaccine or not. But according to the president, you know, he's gonna be the one to use the vaccine. Well, let him use it. But before we get there, number five. So small businesses are doing mass layoff. These are forced mass layoff. This is an artificial, economic crisis because this is lockdown enforced by the government because of the virus. And number five, on a positive note, Philippines BPO will thrive. Okay, which is what we're seeing today. It's BPO, the country's business process outsourcing industry is the one that's keeping our economy afloat. That's There's no question that that's the case. Okay, imagine. But I don't know if a lot of BPO companies still paid their own employees during the lockdown. Let's continue. America's and the West's great rebound will create new demands. Okay, in the case of the United States, if you don't know this, because the local media in this country have not been reporting this, United States has become the main producer of ventilators. Okay, in the world, and a lot of developed countries from Europe are trying to order in large quantities, these ventilators. Okay, so a lot of manufacturing companies in the United States, like Tesla, have taken this opportunity in order to, despite the fact that they were not able to sell their traditional products, they were able to take advantage of the crisis in order to keep their employees employed. And Tesla, because California in the United States is like the Philippines, okay, it's adopting I'm gonna get there in the future, talk about politics in particular, but California is imposing total lockdown, and the Philippines is doing just that. So that's the reason why Tesla of Elon Musk is going to get its company out of that liberal Democrat state in order to operate in Texas. I think he chose Austin, which is a liberal city in Texas, but that's going to be another story. India and the Philippines will have to compete for these opportunities. So the BPO thrived in this country despite this ongoing crisis. The reason why is service industries in the first world are still gonna continue to work. Okay, banks. I don't know about technical stuff, but in my case, our industry is still thriving. Right, despite the crisis, because it's all about money. It's financial services. All right, it's not gonna die. Whether there be crisis, especially during boom and bust. Okay, boom and bust. There's still gonna be, financial services in the world. The projected collapse of many small businesses will create a domino effect. Banking, real estate. So banking, the credits, the loans that have been unpaid over the past months, manufacturing, and other service-related industries will be massively impacted. There's going to be high unemployment, as I said on April 8th. High unemployment. We have very high employment today, and probably the figures that the government has released is inaccurate. It could be higher than that. It could be much higher than that. We don't know. It could be half of the country, more than half of the country, is unemployed today. All right, which is really devastating and alarming, since next year is still gonna be months from now. Low tax collections, which is the case, low tax revenue, and that's the reason why Duterte said, we don't have any money anymore. And seven, the current regime will be forced to borrow. I already said that, or to embark on debt monetization, forcing further inflation, and the government will be severely cash strapped. We don't have any money anymore, according to Duterte, and that's the reason why we resorted to borrowing money from foreign creditors like China. Now let's talk about the vaccine, because according to Duterte, there's not going to be any lifting of our condition, okay, GCQ and so on. without any vaccine. So we're gonna still continue the status quo without any vaccine available in the market. So they're looking at Russia to come up with the vaccine. But as I said before, I've been talking about this before, way back April, and Duterte said in one of his speeches that there's going to be a vaccine. I'm waiting for this company to come up with the vaccine by May, and that was mid-April. Okay, I have this vlog recorded, and I made this vlog on April 15, actually, mid of April, in which the president was seen talking about the vaccine.
Sa gitna ng COVID-19 pandemic, pero kung tatagal pa ang lockdown ng Pasyan, hindi pa malinaw. Sabi ng Pangulo, inaabangan daw niya muna kasi ang isang gamot na ginagawa ng isang malaking pharmaceutical company bago i-lift ang quarantine. Sabi, by May, baka they would start to market it. Pabili na nila. Ang problema, sabi nga ni, we are on the last ladder. Ang muna niyan yung mga mayaman. Kung meron na yan, tapos makita ko na ginagamit ng tao, ililift ko.
Patented the coronavirus vaccine came from the U.
And I
all
said,
over the world.
during that, vlog that, it's not going to be available by May. It's very impossible. I said that. It's going to be by September. All right, so the fact that the Philippine government is waiting for the release of the vaccine means that we've been taken hostage by this crisis. And there is this news report that says Duterte will be the first to receive vaccine from Russia. Well, that's his choice. And like I said, we should not be forced to have the vaccine. It should be discretionary. It should be our personal decision whether we're going to have the vaccine or not. So I don't know yet. I'm going to wait for all of these vaccines to compete in the market to see which of them is going to be the most effective. So like I said, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just for safety, personal safety and responsibility.
The President volunteers to be part of the trial.
Ako, pagdating ng bakuna, in public, para walang chat-chat yan, in public, magpa-injection ako. Ako yung maunang ma-experimentuhan. Sabihin ko rin kay President Putin, malaki ang tiwala ko sa your studies in combating COVID. And I believe that the vaccine that you have produced is really good for humanity. Kaya ako, para ipakita ako sa kanila na ang tiwala ako at hindi sila nagkamali, nag-offer. Ako, pagdating, yung doktor nila o doktor natin, ako ang unang magpapakuna.
Well, it sounds like our president, President Rodrigo Duterte, is sucking up to Russia and Vladimir Putin. So, what we know so far is that this crisis isn't over yet. So we don't know if it's going to be over by next year, but we all know that it's already part of our reality. So it's already part of reality. It's part of science. It's part of our daily life, and we're going to live with it. We're going to learn to live with this crisis. But the problem is we're heading for another bigger crisis, which is economic crisis. And that's going to be harder to resolve. We cannot resolve economic crisis by simply locking down our economy. That's not going to be the sound policy that this country needs. So far, what we know is we need to have sound economic policies in order to repair and rebuild our devastated economy due to COVID or the CCP virus. What I hope is that the government is not going to do any drastic move in order to try to resolve this economic crisis by dismantling our freedom or the rights of the Filipino people, because we know how the government tried to resolve this COVID crisis. They used draconian measures. So what I'm hoping is that they're going to resolve this economic crisis, which is going to be bigger than the CCP virus or coronavirus crisis using sound economic policies. That's what I'm hoping and rooting for. And this is again Uncensored Asian Vlog, and have a good one to all of you.